Thank you, Senator Whitehouse. One final bit of questioning for you, Mr. Arush. Define for this committee what homicide means.
Oh, sure. So homicide is a legal term that refers to, it's essentially a blanket term for any form of unlawful killing. And an unlawful killing is causing death with a culpable mental state. Causing a death means substantially contributing to it or accelerating it. And a culpable mental state could be negligence, knowledge, recklessness.
Welcome back to America First, Patriots. If you're tired of the radical left assault on American energy independence and our fundamental freedoms, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay informed about the battles we're fighting for our constitutional republic. Today I want to break down a Senate hearing that perfectly exposes a dangerous extremism being pushed by climate activists and their allies in academia. We're witnessing a coordinated attack on American energy producers that threatens not just our economy, but our very way of life.
So you wrote an article in 2023 entitled, quote, Climate Homicide, Prosecuting Big Oil for Climate Deaths. In that article, you argue that oil and gas executives could be prosecuted, not just sued, but criminally prosecuted for homicide, for murder, based on climate change. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, I would be careful with the wording because murder, again, is a technical term. And definitely we're not arguing that they could be prosecuted for first-degree murder. That's killing with, intent.
But you want to put them in prison for homicide, lock them up, treat them as criminals, put them in. Murderers people who commit homicide get put in jails with violent criminals. And your position is this is a reasonable and rational thing that we should put the people leading the energy companies in America, producing 8.5 million jobs, we should arrest them and throw them in jail. Is that correct?
It could be the case that some executives should be prosecuted in that way. Of course, you can't put a corporation in jail, so there are other remedies in that situation.
But you can put human beings in jail, and presumably you'd put the corporate officers in jail.
Yes, you can.
You'd prosecute them for murder. So don't let there be any ambiguity. And by the way, Senator Whitehouse was really eager to make clear that you're the minority witness. You're the witness he wanted. He was eager to introduce you. I'm going to go on the record as saying that is a moonbeam wacky theory that you want to prosecute people creating jobs and producing energy for murder. Let me ask you, Mr. Arush, how did you get to the Capitol today?
So, here's what I want to tell you.
How did you get to the Capitol today?
I took an Uber.
You took an Uber.
Yep.
Now, was that in an automobile?
Yes.
Did that automobile have gasoline in it?
Yes. This is very, very cute. I see where this is going.
So I'm glad you think it's cute. Under your theory, you emitted carbon emissions.
Yep.
Should you be arrested in this room right now and prosecuted for murder?
No.
Why?
That's not what the law holds.
So tell me why, because you're willing to say the guy who sold you the gasoline should be prosecuted for murder. You're the one that benefited from it. Couldn't you have ridden a bicycle or maybe like some fairy dust to get here?
The guy who sold the gas and 50 years ago knew that it was going to cause globally catastrophic damage that would cause problems for humanity.
But you have exquisite knowledge of this. You were saying you were an expert. So on mens rea,
I'm not done.
You have a level of culpability because you claim that the act of getting in that car was violence, it was murder, that you should be locked up. Why do you get to violate these principles in a way that you just want to lock up the person who sold you the gas but not the beneficiary of it?
That's your claim, not mine, because to be liable, there are a bunch of reasons, but one of them is you have to substantially contribute to the harm, to the death.
Okay,
and
so
I am
how many car rides is substantially? Is it one? Is it two? Is it 10? How many?
A single individual couldn't possibly contribute enough. The point is...
Well, what about if, say, you're a Democrat politician who
do you want me to answer
What about if you're a Democrat politician who flies private jets?
It would be helpful if you're asking the questions. Doesn't he get to answer them?
He gets to answer them in my time, just like he gets to answer them in your time when you are asking them.
Seems like I don't get to answer.
So what about Democrat politicians who fly private planes all the time? People like John Kerry, who say, for someone like me, a private jet is the only reasonable way to travel. John Kerry has the climate footprint of a small town in Tennessee. Would you prosecute John Kerry for murder?
So depending on how you calculate it, U.S. fossil fuel or the oil majors, private oil majors, are responsible for around half of global emissions.
My question was, would you prosecute John Kerry for murder?
Obviously not. No.
Okay, so Democrat politicians are exempted.
There is no individual.
Democrat activists are exempted.
I'm not going after people for carbon footprints. The whole thing is actually.
Well, why not, though? Under your principle, carbon is killing us. You claim it is homicide. By the way, this is a whack job theory. You teach in law school. If one of your law students wrote this on an exam, any law professor.
The witness in this hearing, Mr. Arush, is advocating for what he calls climate homicide prosecutions. Let me be crystal clear about what this means. This legal scholar wants to criminally prosecute American oil and gas executives for homicide simply for producing the energy that powers our nation. We're not talking about civil lawsuits here. We're talking about putting these business leaders in prison alongside violent criminals. Think about the implications of this radical theory. These are the same energy companies that provide 8.5 million American jobs. These are the companies that have made America energy independent for the first time in decades. These are the executives who ensure that when you flip a light switch, the lights come on, and when you turn the key in your car, it starts. But here's where it gets even more revealing. When the senator pressed this academic on his own carbon footprint, pointing out that he took an Uber to the hearing, suddenly the rules change. Arush admits he used fossil fuels to get there, but claims individual actions don't matter because they don't substantially contribute to the supposed harm. This is classic leftist hypocrisy. The elites who push these policies always exempt themselves from the consequences. They'll fly private jets to climate conferences while demanding that working Americans give up their trucks and SUVs. They'll live in massive mansions while preaching about carbon footprints to families just trying to heat their homes. The senator's questioning about John Kerry was particularly illuminating. Kerry, who has claimed that private jets are the only reasonable way for someone like him to travel, has a carbon footprint larger than entire small towns. Yet when asked directly if Kerry should face prosecution under this climate homicide theory, Arush immediately said no. Democratic politicians get a pass. Climate activists get a pass. But American energy executives who provide the foundation of our economy should go to prison. This isn't about environmental protection. This is about control. This is about weaponizing the legal system to destroy American energy independence and consolidate power in the hands of government bureaucrats and their academic allies. Let's talk about what's really at stake here. American energy dominance isn't just an economic issue, it's a national security issue. When we produce our own oil and gas, we don't have to rely on hostile nations or unstable regions. We don't have to send our young men and women into harm's way to protect foreign oil supplies. We keep American dollars in America and American workers employed. The climate extremists want to dismantle this advantage. They want to make America dependent on foreign energy sources, while simultaneously destroying the legal framework that allows free enterprise to operate. If executives can be prosecuted for homicide simply for running successful businesses, what's next? Are farmers going to be prosecuted for producing food that requires transportation? Are manufacturers going to be charged for making products that require energy to produce? This is the slippery slope of radical environmentalism. It starts with demonizing fossil fuels, but it ends with the government controlling every aspect of economic activity under the guise of preventing climate change. The American people need to understand that this isn't some fringe theory being discussed in ivory towers. These ideas are being taught in law schools across the country. Future lawyers and judges are being indoctrinated with the belief that successful American businesses are criminal enterprises that should be prosecuted. We've seen this playbook before. The left identifies an industry they want to destroy, creates a legal theory to justify government action, and then uses activist prosecutors and judges to implement their agenda. They did it with tobacco companies. They tried it with gun manufacturers, and now they're coming for energy producers. But here's what they don't understand about the American people. We value energy independence. We value the jobs that these companies provide. We value the freedom that comes from having reliable, affordable energy. We're not going to let a handful of radical academics and their political allies destroy the foundation of American prosperity. The senator in this hearing did exactly what we need more elected officials to do. He exposed the hypocrisy and extremism of these climate activists. He showed that their theories are not based on consistent principles, but on political targeting of American industries. We need to support politicians who will stand up to this radical agenda. We need to vote for candidates who understand that American energy independence is not a crime. It's a strategic advantage. We need leaders who will defend our constitutional rights and our free market system against these authoritarian attacks. The climate change movement has been hijacked by extremists who see every crisis as an opportunity to expand government power. They're not interested in reasonable environmental policies or technological innovation. They want to fundamentally transform our economy and our way of life. American patriots cannot allow this to happen. We must speak out against these radical theories. We must support American energy companies that provide good jobs and reliable power. We must defend the principle that success in business is not a crime. The choice before us is clear. We can maintain American energy independence and economic freedom, or we can surrender to the radical left's vision of a controlled economy where government bureaucrats decide who succeeds and who goes to prison. Patriots, we know which side we're on. We stand with American workers, American businesses, and American energy independence. We reject the climate extremists' attempt to criminalize success and weaponize the legal system against our fundamental freedoms. Make sure to like this video if you agree that we need to fight back against this radical agenda. Subscribe to America First for more content exposing the left's assault on our constitutional republic. And share this video with anyone who needs to understand what's really at stake in this battle for America's future. The fight for American energy independence is the fight for American freedom itself. We will not surrender to the radical left vision of a controlled society. We will defend our prosperity, our jobs, and our way of life against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Stay strong, patriots. America first, always,